Anthony Freveletti de la bodega Poggio Rubino de Montalcino. Como ustedes saben, pues Montalcino queda en la Toscana y es famosa, una zona muy famosa por hacer los famosísimos Brunello di Montalcino. Anthony, great meeting you.
Nice to meet you as well. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks for having me.
You were telling me off camera, this is actually your first time in Puerto Rico, right?
Yes, it is. Beautiful island. Yes, enjoying it very much.
And just to tell our viewers here, you're married to a Puerto Rican.
And the whole family. As
yeah,
well. Yes.
It's part of the package. It comes with the territory, I guess.
It's a good package.
Yeah, it is. So, Anthony, when did you start in the wine world? How did you get started?
Wine world, I started as just a kid working with my dad on summers. He was growing grapes back home in America, and I think that's where the passion kind of started and began. As I got older and began a career in wine, it was kind of not your typical or ordinary road or journey. You know, I had to eat.
Okay, yeah.
So I started off in European wines, and I kind of started in European, and then went to New World and American and all New World wines, and then found myself longing to go back to the European wines, and found myself at the end of this kind of 27-year journey back in Europe and in Montalcino. Basically, I'm a terroir guy, and Montalcino I feel is one of the last areas that really prides itself on it.
Speaks about the land.
Absolutely.
Every time you sniff a good Brunello, you can tell that it comes from that region, that particular piece of land in this world. So tell us about the winery itself, Poggio Rubino. What can you tell us about this property?
Poggio Rubino, originally the family, the Corsi family, goes back, of course, as many families do in Italy, goes back generations, but mainly as farming. And wine was always part of their the culture, of course, and the family's passion, but from a different side of the business. So farming was really the main family business, and being in Montalcino years ago and decades ago, you're a small community, and this family had farmed and worked with some famous, what we call now famous families of Montalcino, such as the Biondi Santi family and so on, where I think a lot of our philosophy and our winemaking comes from. But we are farmers first, and we believe our wine is made in the vineyard. Not so much in the winery, and I think that's a message that we try to carry forward.
So we have 4 wines today. We have a Rosso di Montalcino, a Brunello Riserva, and a Super Tuscan.
Yes.
Let's start with the Rosso. What can you tell us about this bottle?
Rosso di Montalcino is again going to be the same grape varietal that we're using in our Brunello di Montalcino. It's Sangiovese Grosso.
That's the grape, Sangiovese Grosso.
Absolutely, a thicker skin. And a touch of a bigger seed. And I think where most of that acidity is going to come from a lot of the backbone of the wine, and why they're so fickle and can be very difficult is because that seed must be mature. And it's sometimes quite a battle to get it there.
They're well made, and you know, I've shared this with all of my friends who know that I'm totally in love with Italian wines. When the Brunellos are well made and when Sangiovese is properly treated and properly grown, of course, they make the best eating wines. There's nothing like a good Sangiovese or Tuscan wine for pairing with food because of that natural acidity. And when it's well made, it's just spectacular.
Absolutely. I think that's really what we gear the wine toward. It's a chef's wine. And we gear it toward cuisine first. Listen, these wines have been being made for cuisine for hundreds of years. Way before Brunello or anything became famous, it was made for the cuisine of that territory, and we still like to carry that forward. And this Rosso, we take it very, very serious. I think We hear a lot in the marketplace of baby Brunello.
Yes.
We hear, you know, these wines are to represent what Brunello can be. Listen, it's its own entity.
It is its own, and sometimes they get a bad rap because people think, oh, all the good grapes that don't make it to the Brunello will get dumped in the Rosso, and that's not the case.
Really not the case.
This Rosso, to me, it's very elegant. It's very floral. It's I don't want to say light, because light may come off as something negative, but it's very delicate.
Yes,
that's the word that I would use.
We try to get that message across that, listen, people read about Montalcino and Brunellos in particular thinking, oh, these are one of the world's greatest wines. They certainly can be very expensive. So immediately in our mind, I think we tend to think that they're going to be a big-bodied wine.
Trailblazer.
Yeah, it's not. It's a medium-bodied wine that is finesse, that is elegance, that is its territory, and that's what we really try to get across. We keep this wine in the barrel for 1 year.
Okay.
We treat it just as gently and with as much care and nurturement as we do in
let's use that as a cue to move on to the Brunello di Montalcino. What can you tell us about this bottle right here?
This is 2009 vintage, which has been recently rated 5 stars. It is going to be something, again, with a beautiful medium-bodied profile, but again,
I love the color.
The color is
beautiful. It's
gorgeous.
ruby red,
yeah.
And then some people sometimes think that you know, only strong or powerful wines can achieve that density of color, and this is the opposite. It's very light, but it's intense. It's powerful. What I'm trying to say is that you don't need to have that over-extracted, that almost black, blue in color to have a very powerful wine.
Listen, this is Brunello, Brune.
Brune.
Brown. Yeah.
He likes that. He likes the elegant wines.
It's supposed to be brown.
Okay.
Yeah. We might look at it, and I think that some people might consider it to be something of age. It's not. It's natural color, and this is the only really Sangiovese varietal that can achieve this color. So it's a wine that is for us first to represent our forest. You know, Montalcino sometimes is confused. It's a very diverse territory, and this mountain has very different climates on either side, northwest, south to east. Altitude and elevation play a very key role. Also on certain sides of this hill you have the forest, and our vineyards are carved out of this forest, and that's what we're trying to achieve. If I over-extract, if I try to pull or overdo it, you're going to miss the forest, and that is the key to the flavor profile, specifically on this side of the hill. We're a western exposure. We have some southern vineyard exposure and western. So I want you to taste wild sage. I want you to taste my rosemary.
They're herbs,
the
tons of herbs.
It's
rosemary.
Everywhere.
I love that.
It's everywhere. Then I want you to get my porcini.
You know what? The Brunello wines, when they're well made, they achieve. They make you hungry.
Yeah.
You're drinking. I'm always hungry. Wine is always hungry as well. But they make you very, very hungry just by smelling them, because they take you to a place where you have tomatoes and you have basil and all those
mushroom.
cheese.
The mushrooms that come out of our forest are just, it's an incredible amount. Of course, porcini reigns king, but this wild mushroom, this sage, the wild herbs, our genestry flower, our wildflower that's growing everywhere, all of this becomes part of your terroir, becomes part of your soil, becomes again the wine. So why we feel we're chef-driven wine is because a chef can sit down with this wine and
play
and just
go crazy,
create. Yeah. So Brunello di Montalcino 2009, just released, actually not really even in the market yet. So you're one of the first ones to see it, but notice how elegant.
It's very approachable right now, even though it's only what, 5 years.
Yes.
But it feels very. I would never use the word yummy to describe these wines. Yummy is more for those fruit, massive, powerful blockbusters of wines. But it feels very, very alive, but it's tamed.
It's refinement.
Yeah, it's an elegant guy.
It really is. We also use when we barreling. We have a unique system into being able to clean our barrel properly. You know, some of the old world Brunellos, certainly that of the Biondi Santi wines, who likes to keep his wine in these old barrels for many, many years. The only really big difference is that we can clean our barrels properly today. Yeah, which gives you this extra essence of smell and aroma, but it also allows the wine to come out clean and refined and elegant. Yeah, I don't want to rip your head off, and I don't want to rip the gums out of your mouth. I do on my Toscana, but not on my Brunello.
Yeah, the Brunellos have this drying quality that they go so well with food because they clean the palate. Yes. They clean the palate. They kind of get in there and just pick everything from all places and make you want to go for the next bite.
I think as you taste into the Reserva next, you'll start to see how this lively acidity kind of dances on your palate and lifts you know, the food from your palate and taste buds, yeah, and how it mingles together, and that's where it comes from, yeah.
I can tell that definitely the herbs come across.
I'm going to reach across and grab that bottle here.
Yeah,
I'm getting jealous of
it's just delicious because
perfect.
You're kind of smelling the chef's kitchen.
Yes.
And all the preparation and it's just let me just a toast and say salud for this.
Yes. Only 4,000 bottles are made, and not in every vintage year. So when we have a superlative vintage year, and not superlative based on a critic or based on a magazine, we'll make that determination ourselves. We don't make them in every year. I do have a 2009, but you won't see that for a couple of years. So 07 is my last. Only 4,000 bottles produced. I think that if we do not have a superlative vintage year, if there is a struggle from Mother Nature, and she just won't let us get to where we want, we will blend our wine. We'll take our wine from the Reserva, the Brunello, and blend it into a rosé.
I don't know if I'm crazy or if I don't know crap about wine, but there are certain wines when they're well made that have these notes reminiscent of cheese.
Well, I think you can get...
or of the region. Or maybe it's an association of the mind, because you associate cheese with herbs. So it may be that.
Yes.
It may be that I'm perhaps thinking of a recipe.
You might be also picking up the certain bacteria that are in cheeses as well. You have bacteria that, of course, are common in wine. So sometimes that correlation can come
exist.
up. Yeah, absolutely.
And I get some people may think that it's not something that you would definitely get from a red wine, but there's some very elegant citric notes, a little bit of sage here, and it's just
beautiful. The sage, the rosemary. But I can smell what you mean with the cheese. I can pick it up on the back.
There's something there. There's something there that's reminiscent of being there in a villa in Italy eating cheese.
And you're welcome to come stay at our villa and eat some cheese.
We will definitely bring our friends from Puerto Rico there.
Please do. Yes, this is also coming out of barrel too. So I think that you'll pick up some of those hints.
Laser-like precision.
Yes.
Very focused. Yes. Grabs the palate.
Yes.
It's very velvety.
Doesn't overwhelm you.
Yeah.
It's not made to. I want this wine. You know what? I want you to drink Montalcino before I want you to taste a Brunello. I want you to taste my terroir, my territory, my forest.
But let me tell you something. It's made in the old school style.
Yes.
Because just like in Rioja, for example, Rioja being a very famous region in Spain, a lot of people speak about old school Rioja and modern, powerful, parkerized wines. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that there are certain Brunelos that are made to please the critics.
Yes.
And they're meant to be consumed rather early.
Yes.
This is not the case. These are very, very elegant, refined wines. This, to me, is, then obviously I'm not saying that it is Burgundy, but it speaks of a place just like Burgundy does, and you're not trying to copy or imitate or please anybody.
No, I'm not. I am going to make this wine for the territory first.
Yes.
I am not, either you like it,
yes,
or some folks will not like it. However, we will not change.
I love that sour cherry component. That's that sour, little sour notes. It's delicious.
It's a yellow cherry and a bit of a black cherry. And you're right, it's very reminiscent of your Grand Cru Burgundy.
Totally.
It's a very
much more Burgundy than Bordeaux, or much more Burgundy. Yeah.
Absolutely. These single grape varietal wines, as you'll taste in the Super Tuscan coming up, or the IGT coming up, we start to change. Now, for Bordeaux and for these wines that are blended, it's never going to be the same, and they'll never be able to do what a Tempranillo can do, what a single Sangiovese Grosso or a Pinot Noir coming out.
I also love the acidity in this wine. The acidity and the fruit, so well balanced, the use of the oak, everything kind of comes together, and it's a total experience.
Yes, I think so. I think another thing that we have to really kind of keep our eye on too is that barrel. You know, sometimes when you order a barrel, they're giving you wood, sometimes from different forests. Maybe they're all French and so on. So we get very specific. This is forested fruit for forested cuisine, wild boar, pheasant, rabbit, and our barrel that we age the wine in is specifically barreled, from a specific forest.
We're fighting the noise here.
Yes, sorry, it's a cappuccino. It's very important.
It has to be made for the client. This is a very amateur video blog, and our viewers know that and respect that. You know what I also get in these wines. You kind of get that sense of tradition and history, that you're trying to make the wines just like these wines were being made a long time ago, right?
Yes.
So you're trying to honor that, and instead of trying to have a wine that's going to get masses and masses of people looking for a specific bottle because of a price, these wines right here are ambassadors of Montalcino.
Absolutely.
They travel the world, and they speak of a place, and it's just magnificent. It is magnificent. It's very elegant.
Staying true to our terroir, to our territory, and we do want to pay homage. In some ways, I don't want to mistake the fact that yes, we do have modern winemaking equipment today. You can say that our winery is a modern facility.
Yeah, but you believe in true, pure, natural beauty. There's not a lot of makeup in here. No. You know that, and my viewers, our viewers know that we say things like we see them, and instead of being porn, this is love.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And instead of being this person with a lot of makeup, that you sometimes use makeup to hide defects or to hide imperfections, these are wines that it's just juice. It's fruit. It's grape juice.
You know, making wine, and I don't mean to oversimplify it, but it is, as with cuisine, is to stay simple. We've been making wine for thousands of years. Yes? Yeah. Cuisine, thousands of years.
Moving on to the Pietra Sorgente. Sorgente. This is a beautiful bottle of wine. Just the bottle on its own is a work of art, and this is like a Ferrari. This is beautiful.
You'll notice the stars. Pietra Sorgente is referring to the...
I want to be a little more generous.
That's fine. Is referring to the stone and rock and the minerality that is in our soil, and you'll see moon, you'll see the stars, you'll see the rocks, you'll see the grapevine and so forth, and it's the synergy of nature.
Jeez, this is a whack, a smack of pure heaven right here.
This is, now we're talking a little bit darker, a little bit more inky style. But notice when you taste
like
this
the
wine
color
across
of the
your
assassin's soul.
Yeah.
Very dark.
When it comes across your palate, however, I was striving to make this, to pay homage to that old world tradition. It's going to be, again, medium, maybe leaning toward a full body, yeah, but it's not going to burst in your palate.
It is very, it's not explosive in the nose. No. It's very, very, I don't want to say loud, but it's very direct. And I get some menthol, some mint, some freshness. I get some of that.
I love the
very
mint.
ripe, mature fruit.
Yes.
There is a bit, and I don't want to say caramel, but a bit of vanilla there, some spices.
It is in a smaller barrel. When we do Rosso, when we do our Brunellos, we strictly stay in large barrel.
Raspberries,
so, raspberry, blackberry.
Cabernet. There's Cabernet here.
Cabernet
right?
Sauvignon, Merlot, little Petit Verdot. Yes?
Yes.
So here I'm going to go into a smaller barrel. It deserves it. Brunello was born in a large barrel. It needs to stay in a large barrel. And now when I'm getting into these different varietals, yes, they need a smaller barrel, a smaller barrique, where a lot of this black color comes from and so forth. But still wanted to maintain stylistically that medium to full body. Wanted to bring out that terroir. You mentioned mint. You know, a lot of folks don't realize that I've got 3 different types of mint growing wild in my forest.
Really?
Yeah, I got red leaf mint and green leaf mint, and it's just such an important part. We take our salsicha, we mix that with the mint, and right on a
this here it is more of a very yummy nose, and you get that dessert-like quality, not dessert wine, but pie filling, raspberries.
Yes, baked.
Yeah,
it's got a baked raspberry, baked blackberry, kind of not a jelly, not a jam, but a baked kind of essence to it. Yeah, I again did not want to overwhelm with over extraction. I don't want this to explode on your palate and, you know, the deep fruit. I need it to represent the terroir first. And the only way that we feel that is achieved, certainly over time, this is a wine, as with all of these, that we want to lay down in your wine cellar and allow them to develop in the bottle and evolve. But I want you to taste my forest. I want you to taste the essence of that terroir.
I get some very nice black olives here as well, and it's not a fruit bomb, not at all. No, by no means.
By no means.
It's very, I see a pattern, or I see sort of like
a footprint,
something, that ties these wines together. And the hand or the human intervention is very restrained. It's very restrained. And what I see here is a pure expression of fruit. And obviously, you're going to produce what Mother Nature gives you.
Yes.
No more, no less.
We are the servant to Mother Nature, and we have to work with her. And we simply are trying to represent what nature gives us every year, and of course, our territory. Yeah.
I think this is fantastic.
So I don't, again, I don't want to make a modern style. I guess they call it a new world. I want it to remain.
For those of you friends out there who are looking for those hairy beasts that are 16.2 alcohol, and that after 2 glasses you feel your tongue is going to fall out, this is not the wine for you. This, on the other hand, is going to be a wine that those of you who love Burgundy, who love the German Rieslings, the Barolos, and obviously old school Rioja and very old school Montalcino are really, really going to enjoy. And the Super Tuscan is, nowadays you see a tendency of a lot of winemakers not not just going the extra mile, but just adding too much beef.
Yes. They're trying to attract, I think, a market. They're trying to go after. They're making their wine geared toward a market. You know, these wines were being made way before the Canadian market, the largest single buying entity in the world, and long before America was buying wine. These wines were being made, and long before many of our modern critics that wrote books about vintages that were going on before they were even born. Those were world's greatest wines. They haven't changed.
This is a powerful wine that is not abusive or dictatorial.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity, and hopefully you'll be here in Puerto Rico many times, and we'll be able to discuss your wines.
Yes,
thank you for that. Salud, amigos, gracias por seguirnos. Ha sido un placer y pronto tendremos más noticias para ustedes.